Hello and welcome to That's the Way the Cookie Crumbles, and today I am joined by Jim
Hi.
to discuss what happened in the round of 16 for England and for everybody else, and to preview the England-Ukraine game this Saturday night at 8 o'clock. It's tense. Not as tense as yesterday though, Jim.
No.
I mean, let's go right to the start. The kickoff was at 5 o'clock. We rushed back for that. The team was released at about 4:45. 3-4-3.
About 11:15 in the morning, actually.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, what did you think of the 11?
Yeah, in hindsight, spot on. But if you're asking me what I thought of 11 yesterday at 4 o'clock, then I thought it was too negative. I thought it wouldn't work as well as just playing a 4-2-3-1, and I did worry about how we'd attack, and I worried that England hadn't played this system since I think it was November last year. So I was worried, but I did see the defensive side of it. I think T4 Football did a video previewing tactically how you can match up that Germany 3-4-3. And then you're seeing as soon as the game kicks off, I think in the first half an hour England dominated, and you're seeing defensively how it was working. So I got that. It was more the attacking part of the plan.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I didn't mind it too much, to be honest. I think, obviously, Southgate's spoken a lot about being versatile and whatever. Players playing different positions, and obviously players being able to play different formations. We've seen a back three before in Russia a few years ago, and I'm guessing they were training in it all week, because I don't know how else The Athletic and The Telegraph knew that was going to be the 11, so they must have seen them training like that and setting up like that. But no, I didn't hate it too much, especially because we watched the Portugal-Germany game together, where pretty much all four of Germany's goals came via the wing back. So I understood why we went 3-4-3 to obviously match Germany's width. Was, like you say, a little bit apprehensive about how we get the ball up to that front three as well, especially with how Kane's playing. Nobody really to hold it up. Obviously, Saka and Sterling played well, but I was a little bit worried about how we get the ball up to them. But like you say, in hindsight, worked really well. I thought he matched Germany all over the pitch. Went a little bit man-to-man at first, I thought, in the midfield, which is why Phillips and Rice picked up two bookings. But then the second half, I just thought we matched them perfectly, 100%. Obviously, 60, 70 minutes, it really could have gone either way, which is what it's going to be. I mean, I've seen a lot of people going, don't get too carried away. It's not a great Germany team, but they're the same people that are going, this England team's crap. So,
Well, did you see how many Champions League winners in that Germany team?
And World Cup winners. He still had 4 World Cup winners in the spine. They had Muller, Kroos, Hummels and Neuer going straight through the spine.
And they've not long recently absolutely mullered a Portugal side, and many would have said second favourites behind France.
Exactly. So people can say it's not a great Germany team, and I'd agree with you. But I think to say that it's not a good team at all, I think you're just wrong. You've got players from Bayern Munich in there, Chelsea in there, Dortmund in there.
It's a great team that has flaws, and we're not used to having Germany having any flaws. That's what it is. It's not got the Miroslav Klose it used to have, and the defence might be a bit slow, but come on, it's one of the tournament's favourites.
Well, that was it, and I think England fully deserved the victory. Like I say, a couple of great saves from Pickford at 0-0. I think he deserves a shout out, especially because a lot of us were worried about how he'd perform, but he is a different keeper for England. And yeah, we got the first goal, and after we got the second, then I don't think it was ever really in doubt, and England still haven't conceded at a tournament. I think the only team that's still in it to not concede. Have Italy conceded?
No.
Italy haven't conceded. Well, they conceded an extra time, didn't they? To Austria.
Oh yeah, of course, minute. Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
Little consolation.
Yeah, we are the only team.
So we'll be the only team, but I mean, I don't know if you saw Southgate's post-match interview. But he did say that he chose that 3-4-3 today, and I thought, well, he basically said, if we went out today, I was dead. Because of the players that he left out, and I respect that, because he knows that there's a massive clamouring for Grealish, obviously Foden, Rashford, Sancho, Mason Mount, the list goes on of the quality that was on that bench. And he had a plan. He knew what he wanted to do and what he had to do, and he picked the team for that occasion, and it's horses for courses, and it's worked out. And I don't mind him doing that, because England look very difficult to break down, and that's what wins tournaments. If we look at France and Portugal in the last two,
I think the actual game, looking back on itself, Southgate planned it, and it went literally perfectly to plan for Southgate, in the sense that Germany might have got him behind. I think Kai Havertz put Werner through really good ball. That's just world class talent that you can't really.
It's going to happen against.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But the game was quite tight. We was in it. We was definitely the better side. Even Klinsmann at half time was saying so himself. And then you bring on Grealish, and the way he's managed Grealish to me has been, honestly, it's been perfect. There's been so much, like you say, clamour for him, and honestly a bit of hate towards Southgate. Some of the comments he gets like on social media and from fans of Grealish, and when Grealish was coming on, you heard the roar at Wembley, didn't you? He was like a wrestler who just like entered an arena. It was like loud. I don't think I've ever even seen that for a sub. He's kind of our talisman, our poster boy. But in the past, you'd see England use them kind of players and they'd play 50 straight games. They'd never be dropped. They might be in the worst club form ever, but they'd never be
starting.
Wayne Rooney, what I'm trying to think of, when Hodgson started against Iceland, stuff like that. But this game's perfectly because you can see why Grealish isn't a player who comes back on defence as much as Saka or Sterling would. So you can see why starting with him would have been risky. But then we needed someone in that after that hour mark. We looked like needed a bit of energy.
Bit of creativity
and it
as
was
well.
Perfect timing, and
he was involved in both goals.
Exactly,
He gave the ball to Luke Shaw.
Him and Luke Shaw on that left hand side.
He gave it to Luke Shaw for the first one, and Luke Shaw gave it to him for the second one.
That's where the goals came from. I mean, he made such an impact, and I just think Southgate is such a big win for him. I'm so happy for him too because he is a nice guy. He's easily our favourite manager. I think I can talk for you as well.
He's perfect for this England team. I mean, I know a lot of people want to dig him out and whatever. And, that's fine. And a lot of the biggest stick people beat him with is that he's never beaten, a big team or one of the elite. And, people will now say that Germany team isn't that good. But at the end of the day, it's the first time England have won a Euros knockout game in 90 minutes, ever.
It's the first time they beat Germany since
first
66.
First time since 66 we've beaten Germany in the knockouts of a competition. So I think we need to put a little bit of respect on his name, back him, especially, there's a lot of drama before when the 11s are announced, and we just need to trust him. It's his second, obviously if we don't count the Nations League, which he got to the semi-final in that. It's his second tournament. He got to the semi-final in the World Cup. If he can get to the semi-final of this, it means that in the two tournaments that Gareth Southgate's had, he's got to the semi-finals in both, and he's never really failed us. So I've never really understood.
I think we can draw a line under the absolute hysteria everyone goes into him. Not trusting him because he doesn't have that pedigree as other managers have. Yeah. Because obviously he's only managed Borough and the under-21 side.
People don't trust him. They doubt him.
I'm not saying I don't trust him. It's fine to have opinions. Like I say, I didn't. I thought 3-4-3 wasn't the way to go. I really didn't think it was. I was so confident in the 4-2-3-1, and I thought that could have matched him up quite well as well. But he was right. Do you know what I mean? You can't follow it. The game was perfect. Southgate planned it out. He picked the right players. He made the right subs at the right times. So I think from now on, this tournament, we should just got to appreciate and respect his choices. I'm not comparing him to Pep, but I've had this Sporting City the last few years. You'd see a City lineup and there'd be like a mad selection. You're like, what has he done? I know he gets a lot of overthinking stuff, but then it works 90% of the time. That's why they win stuff. So I think all City fans now just think he's put such and such put in a right back, but it's going to work. Southgate changing from 3-4-3. The way we adapted versus the way France didn't, that's just credit to the coaching staff and how they've laid out this England side. It
was a big moment for him yesterday, huge win for England. And like you say, we've just got to respect him a little bit more. He's not afraid to leave the big names out for, the better of the team and the layout and the tactical, way that he wants to play the game. So we've just got to trust him. I know that there'll be a few favourites on the bench, and because you speak to England fans and no three can agree on the 11 that they play. So it's one of them, but it was a huge moment for England, and it was settled in moments. You've already spoken about Havertz's shot in the second half that Pickford saved, and Werner's shot in the first half that Pickford saved, and England scored their 2 moments and Germany didn't, and England are through to a quarter-final, Jim.
Yeah, and there's no reason looking at the draw they can't go away to the final. I've seen a lot of people calling it the semi-final. I think that's a bit...
getting ahead of themselves.
Yeah, especially when you're in... I know, obviously, on paper, it's a lot different than what it is in reality, especially as an England fan who, I did previously mention God outside about Iceland. So you've got to take game at a time. Obviously, Ukraine is next. We're on a good side of the draw with Denmark and Czech Republic coming up in the semi-final, potentially. And
at Wembley.
At Wembley, exactly. You just got to go to Rome and come back, still in the tournament. And then I think there's, every chance I wouldn't back against us. I think in my head, logically, when you ask me for a winner, I would say England, but I'm an England fan and there's too much on the line to even think about
Well,
that right
it.
now.
Yeah.
But we've seen the last 16 was an absolutely crazy round. Like, if you get more of that in the quarterfinals, then the neutrals are in for some ride, because let's just talk about teams like France out, Switzerland, Portugal out, Holland out to Czech Republic. It's been crazy.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, that Spain, Croatia, France, Switzerland was probably one of the best nights of football I've ever watched, never mind tournament football. 2-3-3 is almost identical. The underdogs went 1-0 up. The favourites got it to 3-1, and then there was 2 goals in the last 5 or 10 minutes to pull it back to 3-3 and take it into extra time. And obviously Spain did the business in extra time, and the France-Switzerland game went all the way through to penalties, and it was obviously Kylian Mbappe. Who else would it be that would miss that penalty? A guy that has had it his way ever since he really started in senior football, having a great Champions League run with Monaco, going to his home club in Paris where he grew up, and absolutely smashing it over there with them men, winning the World Cup. I mean, obviously that as well, but we've heard stories, Jim, about cracks with the French team. Do you think that played a part in that particular game?
Yeah, I think they got a bit ahead of themselves, and I think they never really got out of second gear through the whole tournament. And I think that's part to do with the arrogance of them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them players are arrogant, and Mbappe is, I would say, definitely
It's a lot of egos, isn't it?
Yeah, especially for such a young kid as well. That's what surprises me. I know he's got the world at his feet. He's that talented, and he's won the World Cup, like you say. He's won the Ligue 1 and everything, but he's still so young and got so long to go in his career that I don't really get the ego. And after the game, did you hear about the reports of Rabiot's mum with Pogba's family and Mbappe's family?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a surprise. The French do it best, don't they? Implosions, and I would sit here and say they beat themselves, but the Swiss were excellent. They were so good.
They played really, really well. I thought Granit Xhaka was one of the best players on the pitch. And they Clyde Tilsley said it at the end of the game. They arguably deserved to win that game. You wouldn't, begrudge them that victory at all. The way they stood up to France, and like you say, I think that penalty woke France up when they missed it. Switzerland lost their heads and they came back into it. And I think when you've got a team with so many egos, people talk about that being a brilliant thing, the depth and the quality in that French squad. But when you've got that many egos, it can go wrong, and it really did go wrong. And like you said, we've seen it before with the French. But Jim, a guy who's at the other end of his career than Kylian Mbappe is Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think he is still the tournament's top goal scorer.
Yes.
But he has gone home after Belgium beat Portugal 1-0 after having one shot on target. Portugal got Portugaled by Belgium.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think about that game?
It was very Portugal to 2016, was it?
Yeah,
very France 2018 as well. The way they played. Listen, I thought it was a game of 2 halves. Definitely Belgium were the better side in the first half. They wasn't as dominant as Portugal were in the second half, as Ronaldo and his men through the kitchen sink pretty much at Belgium, but didn't fail to score. I think a lot of it came down to Kevin De Bruyne going off injured. The game instantly switched when he tried to come out after half time, and couldn't play. But yeah, it's a massive team that's gone home, and Belgium's back three that has been questioned, and rightly so, with the age of it and
100 years old combined, isn't
where they're at in their career. They withstood Guerrero at the post.
Diaz had a header, didn't he?
Diaz had a header save, which
João Felix scored a shot and is now an imposter.
Well, yeah, but that's just Roy Keane getting his clicks, I think. I think Portugal will regret leaving Ronaldo so alone for the first 45 and kind of not really, because they're more talented than Belgium for me all over the pitch. Belgium obviously got the match winners in Lukaku and De Bruyne, and Hazard can still show up even despite his form. But Portugal were a bit too respectful, I would say, and
a bit too conservative, really.
Yeah,
we've seen it before with Portugal. Obviously, you got Bruno Fernandes on the bench. João Felix came on, and that was the first time he played in the tournament. But I think, like you say, especially when De Bruyne went off, they could have gone for it a little bit more. I felt like it was only really the last 10 minutes where they threw the kitchen sink at it, when they had the Diaz header and Guerrero hit the post and things like that. I think Portugal will have some regrets, because Belgium in that second half, like you say, De Bruyne went off. I'm not going to say they were there for the taking, but I think you could have tested them a little bit more than they did. And yeah, I mean, it's another it's another member of the group of death that went out, along with Germany and France, and obviously Hungary never got through. So I think it was 12-1 for Germany, France, and Portugal to get to the semi-finals. I wonder what it had been for them to all get knocked out in the round of 16. But Belgium are through, and they play Italy, who knocked Austria out at Wembley.
Yeah, so
in extra time.
This is again the draw where England just fell into this. I mean, a lot of people were saying finish second, but look what first gets you. It gets you confidence. We've done the hard work. We've beaten one of the best teams we'll face this tournament, and we've got home advantage for every game but Rome if we go all the way.
That's it. It's going to be massive for England being on this side of the draw, like you say. Ukraine next, then one of Czech or Denmark in the semi-final, should we get there. Belgium, Italy play each other. And obviously Spain are on that side too. So we are the favourites for the quarterfinal and the semi, and with the final, we'll definitely we are. Yeah, I mean, with the final being at Wembley as well, and that's going to be up to 60,000, I think, or 65,000, which is obviously going to be the most that there is. It keeps the attendance keep going higher and higher for the tournament. Then, like you've already said, England got to keep we've seen England do us before, with Iceland and however many other games that we've seen England play against teams that they should have won and they didn't. But, there's a great feeling amongst the group now. Big monkey off the bat there for England, beating Germany in 90 minutes. And hopefully we can go from strength to strength and get to that final.
Yeah, Southgate's, he also said yesterday, which stuck with me, were after the game he had to be a bit of a bore and go into the dressing room and say, listen, you've done the hard work now, but it counts for nothing unless you focus and do the thing. And that's right, they asked Sterling if his goal would be, because obviously Southgate's famous quote this tournament has been, every time you put an England shirt on, you've got that chance of scoring a goal that will be replayed over and over in history. And I think it might be, like Sterling said, if they go all the way, if they do a bit more now, it will be. But ultimately, we count for nothing if we don't take the opportunity in front of us. And that opportunity was Ukraine, after it had the very last minute header and Sweden getting a red card and that game switching its head. So Ukraine in Rome, they finished third place in their group. England's chances at that very good, but what does England have to do now? Because I'm thinking the 3-4-3 to match Germany, I don't see that happening again. No. I think it's going to be more like a game where England will have to go and score a bit more goals and be a bit more on the attacking front foot. Yeah,
I think we'll probably switch back to the 4-2-3-1 that we saw in all the group games. Don't think there'll be too many changes. You might see Grealish come in, because I did hear that Southgate had mentioned to the press that he wanted to play Grealish in games where he'd have a bit more licence to create, and Germany wasn't that game. We knew that anyway, although like you say, he did change the game and he came on for half an hour, but not a game he'd start. But against Ukraine, it probably is a game that he'd start. He'd expect England to have the ball for the majority of the time, and as well have space against Ukraine, who we've seen have a lot of mercurial players, and they will attack. I mean, it's definitely a team that's managed by a former striker in Andrei Shevchenko with how they play the game. So they will come at us, especially with it being at neutral grounds. I think at Wembley they might have sat 5 or 10 yards deeper, but I think, with us playing at in Rome, they will come out at us a little bit, so we will have that opportunity to push. But at the same time, I think we should go more offensive, especially with us being the favourites in this one. But we do need to remain solid, because that's how you win these tournaments. I know everybody wants to see you blow teams away 4-3 every game and it'd be brilliant, free-flowing football, but we've seen from pretty much every winner of the last however many tournaments that the teams that win are the teams that don't get scored against. They're winning games 1-0 and 2-1 and things like that. So obviously, got to be careful of Ukraine, because we have been stung a few times before. I mean, I don't know what you do. Would you go back to a 4-2-3-1? Is there anybody that you'd bring in or move out of the side against Ukraine?
Yeah, I wouldn't have. I'd get rid of a defender or two maybe. Not one. I'd get rid of Trippier. Trying to think now. I think the team for me would be the exact same as the Czech Republic game. Yeah, I think
I'd Grealish for Trippier and 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, because I think Saka's been excellent. He's played himself into this team for me. Yeah. Listen, Sterling's undroppable, Kane's undroppable at this point, despite his performances maybe on the pitch. But he got his goal now, so now there's even more of a reason to play him.
That's it. There's only really a couple of positions up for grabs.
Yeah, you can't separate them to midfield.
And the back five names itself pretty much.
The back four, listen, it's amazing. It's so good defensively. Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw. It really is. I know I'm a City fan, you're a United fan sitting here, but How good have they been for the past
Been brilliant. I thought
12 months?
Yeah, I mean the fact that Luke Shaw and John Stones are even in the squad, never mind the 11, kind of shows their revival and how much they've turned their careers around this season. Two of the best defenders in the league comfortably this season, and they've both been brilliant. I mean, Luke Shaw's stats for a guy that didn't even play in the first 90 minutes with terms of, carries up the pitch and, assists and expected assists and whatever balls in the final third is brilliant. And Maguire and Stones, they've played together for years, two Yorkshire lads, good friends off the pitch as well. They know each other's game.
I think that's what's important with them too. I think when you get said about partnership,
it's relationships in international football.
You need to have that.
Because you don't get a lot of time together.
And I was watching a bit of the game back this morning, and it was the last 5 minutes after Kane scored when England were just sitting there defending, heading. And honestly, Stones and Maguire absolutely lapped it up. They loved it. Yeah. It was like he was celebrating every single header. He was like, let's do this for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I know we've spoken about him all, about Kyle Walker, but I thought he was brilliant as well. Dropping into that back three, I thought he was really intelligent with his covering runs. I can only really think of that Muller chance where we got caught out.
Did you see how quick he was?
And he was absolutely lightning, but there was a few opportunities that could have been like that if Walker wasn't there and he wasn't so quick to spot that danger and cover Maguire and Stones, who, like you say, were absolutely colossal.
Yeah, Walker, player limited going forward, but the thing you pointed out there, which is very key, intelligent.
It's that recovery as well.
He knows that he doesn't have to go forward because he can't do that. There was a point in the game where he got a
chance to cross,
a deep cross opportunity. He just didn't even do it because he knows his own. He knows his own skill, and that's completely fine. That's completely you can live with that. When on the other end, he's the fastest and he's the strongest, and he's there in them positions. And I think, like you say before, good teams are built on defence, and we've got to get that stability there for Ukraine. But bring in Grealish because he's been the X factor now for the last 3 goals England have scored. He's been involved in all 3, assisting 2, and then the hockey assist, if you will, in the other one. So bring him in and let's get him beat.
Give him licence to carry the ball and take the game to the Ukrainians, because it is a game like, we don't want to sound too cocky and we could be reviewing the quarter-final and England aren't through, which I hope we're not, but look, I don't think it's too arrogant to say that this is a game that England should be taking to the Ukrainians and a game that we should be winning and hopefully scoring a few goals again. But it doesn't matter too much. I mean, I'd take a 1-0 in the 5th minute and we're solid for the rest of the game. It doesn't matter how you get through as long as we get through. So
yeah, there's definitely worries there because I think England actually look worse against teams they should beat at times because the onus is on them. Hopefully Ukraine will come out a little bit and maybe get caught. I think when I was watching the game last night, I was thinking, I hope they win. I do like them, so that was one of the reasons. But I think Sweden in a 4-4-2, they are very rigid and they're hard to beat. You've seen Spain batter them and they couldn't get a goal.
Yeah, I think they've got more match winners as well than Ukraine. Obviously, Yarmolenko's a great player. But I mean, Alexander Isak's had a great tournament and Forsberg's been brilliant as well. And like you say, if I could have picked one of the two, and this isn't being arrogant, it's just because I think England will have more of a chance of attacking one of those teams. Like you said, it would have been Ukraine. Because I think the way that they play, I think that we will have spaces to, counter them on the transition and maybe catch them out a little bit. Whereas, like you say, Sweden, it's going to be 2 banks of 4 with, 2 working closely together up front. So,
but they've got a lot of technical players and
a lot of mercurial talent, a lot of talent that can pop up and score an absolute screamer from nowhere. I mean, we saw
the Zinchenko goal yesterday was it Shepolev or Sheparenko, one of the Kiev boys we know from our FM stories, put a class ball over to the right.
Yarmolenko it was.
Yarmolenko and another great ball, and then great technique from Zinchenko. We've seen
that's what I mean.
They've all got great technique. Malinowski, they didn't even start at the Atlanta man. The fullbacks are good.
Yaremchuk's a nuisance, and I mean,
and he's strong as well, and he's not slow.
They love a back heel as well. They must have done the most back heels of the tournament, even if you had the rest of the teams up together. So it's a team that England definitely need to be wary for. And to be honest, people use it as a stick to beat Southgate with, but I think he will be wary of them, and I think he will be a little bit conservative. And to be fair, I don't mind that. Like I say, as long as we win the game. I don't expect us to be like, oh, it's Ukraine. We need to go and beat them 4-0 and we need to look brilliant. I'd take a 1-0 right now.
Yeah, it's not just Ukraine. It's Ukraine and European It's quarter final. That's what you got to think
it.
first.
They're there, and they're there for a reason. We've got to respect the fact that they've got that way when there's so many good teams that got knocked out in the round before that. So we've got to have our wits about us. But I mean, if we could have picked a run into the final, there's not many teams that we would have picked better than that, really. Ukraine, and then a possible semi-final of Czech and Denmark at Wembley.
Yeah, you couldn't really ask for better. You're expecting some of the big boys at that stage, aren't you?
Yeah.
So before we go, I guess, well, score prediction maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be tight, but I think we'll win it 1-0. I do. I think it'll be a second half goal. Raheem Sterling again, maybe. But yeah, I can't see us blowing them away. I do think we'll be wary of them, especially because of some of the goals that we've seen them score. But I think we'll do enough.
I think 2-0. I think they'll get a goal not too late, and Ukraine will come out and
we'll get them.
We'll get
like Germany.
Kind of like Germany, but more.
Still haven't conceded. Are we going to go all the way without conceding? I mean, that would be some record winning a tournament without conceding. That can't have happened many times before.
I don't know if
I don't know if it ever has happened.
Spain team, the 2010 Spain team, I feel like they did concede.
No, they didn't in 2010 World Cup.
No, in the Euros when they beat Italy 4-0 in the final.
They did because they played Italy in the group stage, and I think they drew 1-1 in the first game. Was it Di Natale?
Di Natale scored.
Yeah, and they did in 2010 because they actually lost the first group game against Switzerland. Who did they play?
Spain. Oh yeah, they do.
Spain play Switzerland. So there we go.
Full circle.
Gelson Fernandes, Man City legend, beat them 1-0, and the little fat Jim. They are the only team to win the World Cup after losing the first group game. So listen, hopefully Switzerland can do it again. Belgium v Italy, great game. England versus Ukraine and Czech.
Oh, go on then. We'll
versus
do
Denmark. Should we do some predictions for the others?
Quick predictions.
Just who's going to go through, or do you want to do scores?
No, who's going to go through? Go on.
Right.
I did pretty well in my last 16.
Okay, so England will go through, and they will play Czech, and it'll be a replay of the last group game in, was it Group F? I can't remember what group we were in.
I don't think. C, wasn't it? D.
One of them, Group D.
I don't think there was an F.
I'm making groups.
Oh no, that was the group of death.
Oh, that was a group of death. None of them are going. And then it'll be, I think Spain will do Switzerland. I think Switzerland it'll be like just a step too far for them. So Spain will do them, I think, and then Belgium, Italy. I'm going to say Belgium sneak through again. I'm going to say Belgium sneak through by penalties. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll go all the way. So yeah, Spain, Belgium on the other side, and England, Czech on our side.
I'm going the same as our side. I'm going obviously England. I think the Czechs will be too crafty for Denmark, who've been great themselves.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be more of it's the same kind of game as the Netherlands one. I think the Swiss will beat Spain. I feel like they're this year's dark. They got something about them. I think Shaqiri always shows. I think Spain are always there to look really good or really crap and beat himself.
Well, I think I saw a stat, I can't remember who tweeted it, saying that I think 7 or 8 of the 11 that started against France had played together from under 17 all the way through to senior level. So they know each other's game, they know what they're good at and what they're bad at. So maybe that is why.
I think Switzerland are going to cause another upset and beat Spain. And I think in the other game, this will be a really interesting one. But I think Italy will go through. I think Belgium potentially, I don't think Eden Hazard will play. And potentially Kevin De Bruyne might still be a bit.
Yeah, true.
Still be like, and I think Italy have been really good as well. They took extra time, but they was brilliant when they turned it on, and I think they got more depth as well than Belgium.
Yeah, I mean that's the game of the round definitely, and it's a toss up either way. But yeah, Jim, I just hope that next time that we're sat here, we are celebrating England going through to another semi-final under Gareth Southgate.
Well, you'll find out on the next episode. We might be in happy tears or tears of sadness. Yeah. So for now, silly.